Welcome to Reinventing You. I'm your host, Danielle Silverman. I believe that in today's world of ever-constant evolution, the only career change that matters is when what you do matches who you are and what you believe. This show is where you'll learn how embracing change and reinventing yourself will help you navigate any disruptions and lead a life of happiness and fulfillment, especially in this ever-changing world. Your purpose and your meaning will drive your personal transformation. As I like to say, it's your vision, your life. Be passionate about it. Reinventing You starts now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reinventing You. I'm your host, Danielle Silverman. Reinventing You is a show about what it means to pursue a career and a life that corresponds to who you are, to help you find your purpose and to live it. In the past few episodes, I've been talking about the current state of the workplace and what it means to reinvent your career in a world that is in constant turmoil. But what does the reality of changing your career really look like and feel like? Today, we welcome someone who has made the courageous leap to change careers. He did it before the pandemic, and he did it again during the pandemic. Luciano Facchinelli is my guest today. He is a Senior Human Resources Advisor at the Chambre de la Sécurité Financière, which is the Financial Security Board. And he acts there as a strategic business partner to the management team and for all human resources initiatives. He's in fact at the heart of the initiatives in human resources action planning and supports the organization in their strategic development. Luciano has acquired experience in various fields, including human resources consulting, change management, and communications. And he previously held the position of Assistant Executive Director and Interim Executive Director for Youth Fusion and First Robotics Quebec. Interestingly enough, Luciano previously held several positions with the Canada Revenue Agency in staffing, team management, as well as labor relations. He's got a bachelor's degree and an MBA from the Hautes Études Commerciales in Montreal, which is a very well-known business school here in Montreal. So Luciano, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you so much, Danielle. First of all, congratulations on your new project. Already episode 6 from what I hear.
That's right. We're going along.
Excellent.
Luciano, before we get started, I'm really curious to know, what does it mean for you to reinvent yourself and live your life your way?
It's a definition that changed through time.
Oh.
Basically, in simple words, the way I see it today is accepting, loving the evolution of yourself, and adjusting things in consequence. Mm-hmm. I used to see the word reinventing yourself as something major, a major change, something that would transform, would bring you from point A to point Z. But today, the way I see it, it's making little changes based on your evolution. For example, I became a father, so it did affect my life in a very positive way. I have more work experience. I have more experience in life. So the person that I am today, the foundation is similar to what it used to be, but these little changes need, to be reorganized in order to be aligned with the person you became. And so that's, for me, the definition of reinventing yourself.
I agree. That is. And it is also about finding your life purpose. And reinvention is about bringing life into a system. And what you're saying is that basically you're staying aware of your evolution and things that change, whether it's within you or around you, and those things have an effect on you. And so therefore it becomes necessary to reevaluate and to look at what needs to change, what needs to stay the same.
That's exactly it. The steps becomes smaller when you see it that way, at least for me. So I
Yes.
don't have to invent myself completely every
Yeah.
year or every 5 years.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And as a matter of fact, what you're saying is also very similar to what we do in reinvention for strategic planning, because it used to be, you had plans for, what that were 5 years out or even 3 years out. And today we can't do that anymore, right? It really has to be much shorter periods. And so sometimes it's a week or a month, and then you review after that period of time and see what's going on. Luciano, when we first met,
yes.
you were working in a job that really brought you no joy.
Mhm.
What specifically drove you to want to change?
There's several little things.
Mhm.
Um, One personal thing was that the moment I initiated the change, I knew I was going to become a father. So, and the model of a father that I wanted to be was different from the person I was being at that time. Um, what brought me no joy was the fact that I was most of the time frustrated of everything that was going on. No matter the energy, the commitment to the projects, to the ideas I brought to the table, everything seemed so difficult.
Mm,
It seemed that I was going all the time against the flow,
mm.
and it gets exhausting at a certain moment, at a certain point. And I felt that my energy level, my personality wasn't the reflect of my true personality. So that's basically that affected me personally, and that took off all the joy that I had in the day-to-day, let's say, motivations and on the day-to-day challenges.
Would it be fair to say that you wanted to actually go and find out who that person really was, because that's not who you were at work at that current time?
Definitely. If you look at one of the challenges, being part of the government, it comes with what we call a golden parachute.
Mhm.
And it gives you a certain stability, gives you a certain comfort, but and the mission, I was completely dedicated to the mission, which I still love today, but uh, not not feeling on the right spot, not feeling connected to yourself, feeling that every day that you go to work, you don't go with a positive attitude. You wonder, who am I? What I've become? Where is the Luciano that I used to know? And where is the positive person with energy and the drive to bring new things to the table? So yes, I was definitely looking for that person that seemed to have disappeared.
I imagine, though, you talked about golden parachute. Working for a government agency, there's a certain amount of security in that. So I imagine there must have been some fear involved at the idea of possibly leaving such a secure job.
It does. I mean, when we use the word change, it brings insecurities. So no matter how big the change is, a small change, a big change, just changing is difficult as sort. But adding, the the balance, the finance, adding the security, the stability, that complicates things even more. So in order to, for me personally, in order to achieve a certain level of unhappiness, uh, it, let me rephrase it. The fact that I reached a certain level of unhappiness was, let's say, what helped me move.
It
What
was it was unbearable, is
it
what you're
was
saying.
unbearable, and either I had to choose in between a happy life and a non-happy life with stability and security. So I took a little chance.
So you took the lead, right?
Yeah,
How did you discover? I'm moving ahead a little bit now. How
yeah,
did you
yeah.
discover what your next move was going to be?
It's very, very, very subtle. I mean, first of all, Danielle, for a fact that We worked together in a process where a 12 steps process where I had to look back in the past, see some of the barriers or the blockages I had, and project myself in the future. Also, eliminate some exterior factors that, in order to realign myself and redefine my goals. But that's what I mentioned. It's subtle when you know it. Things seems to happen more naturally. If I compare it to myself previously, where I felt that I have to fight for every single thing, I was starting to receive some positive messages from life, some special encounters, some news, or some encounters that would bring joy or confirm that I was moving towards the right direction. It's basically when you feel that you're going with the flow. You're not fighting that strong current that is society and management and resistance and everything. So basically, I found myself floating slowly and going with the current. And the speed, it was quite slow at first, but when you start to perceive and start to see little positive things happening, it helps you find the strength to pursue the path you're walking on. That's what it felt like, and that was the response of life, if I could put it that way, to say, hey, the actions you're taking today is creating a movement, and this movement is becoming every day a little more positive and a little stronger. So yeah.
There's a couple of messages I'm hearing here that are very important. One is that things should be easy. You should be going with the flow as opposed to fighting against barriers all the time. And the other message is that that you have that awareness of what's going on. Was there a defining moment for you? Was there something specific? You talked about meeting certain people or having certain connections that started to click. Was there any one defining moment?
There's many different defining moments, I would say. But one of the defining moments is what I started to do is meeting people. I knew, based on my personality, that I needed to contribute to a mission. So I started meeting people that would an entrepreneurial side, with a dynamic that were well connected to the world. And one of the person that I met, Louis Felix, I was interested in to know a little more about him, about his profile, his challenges, and how he evolves in such a moving world, I would say. And he naturally came to a conversation where he mentioned that his life partner was part of a mission, Youth Fusion, that was dedicated to school perseverance for young ones. And based on the discussion and the exposure I was giving him about myself, so someone that is willing to construct and give the glow to someone else, but wanted to be a silent contributor, let's put it, a strategic silent contributor. He said, you know what? I think you should meet my wife and you should have a conversation with her. I feel there's a connection in between you guys. So that was a very decisive moment, in the sense that I felt that aligned, that I needed to commit myself to a mission. I needed to commit myself towards something that had a purpose, in my opinion.
Yes.
So that brought me guidance in my search. Basically, it was clear for me that for the position I was looking for is a position directed towards youth or immigration and towards helping other people. So that was an enlightenment. It was, and how I felt it's quite special. You feel a weight coming off of your shoulder. You feel re-energized. You feel a twinkling on your skin. You say,
Yes.
"Oh, there's something here." You know, I only by talking about it now, I still feel goosebumps in my back. I
Goosebumps,
said,
so do I.
"Okay, I'm into something right now, and I need to grasp it." So, and I felt that things needed to move even faster at that moment. So, that was my enlightenment.
That was your enlightenment. And if I remember correctly, at the same time, there was a job posting for an assistant executive director. So, and you applied.
You have
and
a
so,
great memory. Yeah.
yes, the thing is that there are no coincidences in life. As soon as you start talking to people, as soon as you start talking about what you want, and you start opening up to possibilities, those possibilities actually come to you.
Exactly. The image I have is, well, I mean, I believe that movement brings movement.
Yes.
And it's the image of a train, you know, when a train, when it's stopped, it takes a little rock to block the whole train. But when you get that train started and it start going forward, the movement becomes easier and easier, and you go forward and you decide the speed. So you get to control the speed by pressing on the brake instead of pushing for things to move forward. And so, yeah, it's no coincidence. It's basically all the little actions that you take, every little conversation that you have, it puts a little seed from left to right, and eventually everything starts blooming, and that's what we call, let's say, coincidence, in my opinion.
Coincidence, good. Luciano, I think that's the fantastic start. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more about your experiences. You're listening to Reinventing You on Transformation Talk Radio. See you soon. Welcome back to Reinventing You. I'm Danielle Silverman here with my guest, Luciano Facchinelli. We're talking about his career change, his courageous career change from working for in a stable job with the government to doing something completely different. And now he's changed again. Luciano, how did you discover then what your next move was going to be? Because if I understand correctly, you changed again during the pandemic.
I did.
Yeah.
A change brings change, like I just mentioned just before
Yes.
the break, Danielle. And it's never 100% clear, at least not for me. The next move, I mean, you should allow yourself, I allowed myself flexibility. I knew that I was committed 100% to the position where I stayed for a little over 2 years. But I knew also right off the bat that it was, let's say, a step in my life towards a direction. So accepting the fact that a change is not perfect, it's something that helped me a lot. It helped me focus on what I was doing at the moment, knowing that I was moving towards the right direction. I think to avoid being stuck in the moment, you should allow the imperfection of things, bring it towards something more positive for you. So if I go back to your initial question, what brought me to exploring new avenues, new opportunities, is that I was ready after a little over 2 years to move towards something else. I didn't know exactly to what to, and I had a prestigious title being the assistant executive director. Then after that, becoming an interim executive director. So I needed some time to reflect. After I knew the process for going, since I went through the process a few years before that, I knew the process would take a few months. So right off the bat, I allowed myself to take that time, and I discussed with my partner in crime, Valérie, my wife, and she was 100% supportive, and she felt it was a good timing also for me to initiate the change and the movement. And it's something that you confirmed to me in the past, Danielle, is that it's easier to change when you're on a positive note. So having more confidence at that time, having the time to reflect, and allowing myself the time to relax and realize everything that happened in the past few years helped me realign things. And the new target, the new objectives I set myself were a little different. There were more towards the dynamics and the relationship with my future employer, and also going back to the roots. I wanted to confirm my experience in human resources. I wanted to develop the strategy aspect of things, but most of all, I wanted to bring my tools, the right tools, to the table. I needed to have that alignment, that the tools that I have are the tools that the business that I was looking for would need. Mm-hmm. And it happened naturally. And when we say be open, walk a different path, and it can be very, very practical. Let's say you take a path, a specific street to go to your favorite coffee shop in the morning. Well, change those paths. You'll be encountering and discovering new people. You'll have new vision. You'll have little messages from life that will tell you that this new path is a good path. And so what happened is, I was exploring, I was talking to a lot of people, and that's something that is in my back pocket now, is people are generous of their time. Whenever they feel that they can help or support someone, they're willing to give you time. So I was very curious, and I wasn't looking specifically for a job. I was looking to discover things that I liked or I wanted to do. And so I started having more and more conversations, and I started being more active on LinkedIn, speaking a little more to the network. And that brought me to an encounter with a person that was looking to fulfill a job within her organization. But eventually she said, you know what, perhaps I have something more interesting for you. There's an opportunity that I think you would fit in. So if I hadn't taken that call at that very moment, it wouldn't have happened. So it's being open, it's having fun in the whole process. And I know I'm a little bit off topic here, but one of the things that I learned, and that's something I want to share too, is you need to create an environment with people that understands what you're going through. My friend Paul was going through a similar process as myself, and we were pretty much connected. And to look for a job, the uncertainty of things, the not knowing the expectations, are all things that bring a little anxiety and can be a little demotivating at times. So having that network, that positive network where you get to exchange ideas and opportunities and align your strategies, discussing, basically having the support of someone that fully understands what you're going through. It's one of the things I recommend if ever you're looking for a change. Be with persons that are going through the same process as you, because they know what you feel and they know your doubts and they know what motivates them. And creating that support system will give you the energy when you don't have it too.
There are so many jewels in everything you've been saying, and I'd like to summarize them, because I think they're really, really important to drive the point home. Thing that I heard was the support that you had. So, and very often people are afraid to tell their spouses what they're going through because they think, oh my goodness, I can't leave my job. It's half the salary or whatever it is that's going on. And I tell people usually, you'd be surprised at sometimes the support that you will get. And every single time it has been that way. So that's something that I think needs to be pointed out. And as you were mentioning, in terms of support, you have a whole support system, right? In this case, you had a very good friend who happened to be going through the same process. And so there was somebody who understood intrinsically what you were going through, and you can talk about your experiences and do that. But you could also do that with a coach or with a counselor, somebody who knows the process of what it means to go through. You need some sort of support system. I think I was talking in my last podcast about having gone skydiving in tandem and having that person have the chute and have your back. Whatever that support system is you definitely need that support system. Someone who's going to cheer you on and work for you and say, go for it. The other thing that is very important is the networking. And I'm really glad that you mentioned the word fun and just talking to people, and the fact that you weren't necessarily out looking for a job, but trying to discover what it is that was important to you. Because, people think networking is a dirty word because they imagine they're asking people for a job, but that's the exact opposite of what you did. You actually went to people and asked them just who they are and what they did, and just demonstrated curiosity about them and for yourself. And that just opens up the conversation. And you're right, people are generous. First of all, they love to talk about themselves.
It's a recognition you're giving him.
That's right. Absolutely. And as a result, they're generous. Yes. So it's not because when you're asking somebody for something that they perhaps cannot give, they're embarrassed because they can't give it. Because they are generous, and if they can't give something, then they're embarrassed and they don't know what to say.
And you don't want to put them in that position.
That's right. You don't want to put them in that position. So if you talk openly and just about, as we say in French, un peu de tout et de rien, talk about anything that you might have in common, or just understanding what it is they do or how they got there, then it's a completely different conversation, and they're open to listening, open to giving advice, open to thinking about things for you. And the third thing I heard, and that really I think you deserve so much credit for, Luciano, is that you remained open to change. You remained aware of what was going on around you, and you listened to those cues. So when you talk about going, to your coffee shop, but using a different path or a different direction and meeting different people, that's an example of being open to new experiences, just like when you travel abroad and into a new city or something,
And it's something that helps you. I mean, you're creating allies. Those persons, those people, they're going to help you. I mean, once there's a connection that is created and you're looking for a job, and if you have that connection, and if if they felt that you were committed and excited to know about what they are, what they do, they will help you. So it's no longer one person looking for a job. It becomes a whole network looking for a job. And you know that whenever there's an opportunity that appears, there's a big chance that that person will think of you and the conversation you had and recommend you. And so this mass effect is what accelerates the change.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that you insisted on is very important. When you say have the support, I would go a little further and say expose yourself. By that is you go through the emotions and live all the emotions that you have to live, basically. You can be discouraged. You can express that you're discouraged, you're tired. Looking for a job is not easy.
No, it's not.
No. And some topics are taboo, and we're evolving as a society. For example, men wouldn't express their feelings, and they would become the most vulnerable populations since they were keeping everything for themselves. It applies for all situations in life, basically. And accept the way you are, and accept the feeling you're leaving and you're going through in that moment. And by sharing that, people will give you the proper support. If they don't know what you're going through, they won't be able to offer you the support you need to.
That's an excellent point. Because if you don't express yourself, then how will people know how to support? That's excellent. You know, we've been talking all positive things.
Yes.
Is there anything that didn't work for you?
I'm not the most patient person in the world.
Okay.
So it's quite frustrating, the time it takes. Like I mentioned, the whole process for me, the previous process, the initial one, took years to happen. The last one took about 6 months. 6 months is a short time in life, but it's a long time if you look at day by day. So finding the motivation every day to sit in front of the computer, to meet strangers, to adapt your letters, adapt your CVs. Your curriculum. It's not stimulating, to be honest. It's not something that I like to do, and so it was quite painful to be honest. So I had to to find ways to put a little positive in the whole thing. So being patient was complicated for me. And
so how did you motivate yourself?
Small little things is, let's say I'm someone that loves coffee. I mentioned already that I like going to coffee shops, and I would, put the coffee for example, has my gift, my little motivation tool. So I had to do an action in order to deserve my coffee, no matter what.
You gave
That
a
would be
carrot at the end.
yeah, exactly. The other thing is giving yourself time off too. The whole reinventing yourself, reinventing your goals, redefining your goals. It's a full-time job, and you need to see it that way. So whenever you work, you deserve some breaks. So allow yourself those breaks. So take time off. It's impossible to work 7 days a week for a long time. Yes, there's some period of some stretches, and sometimes you have to you committed yourself to some things you have to deliver. But other than that, don't forget that that special moment you have is a moment where you should allow your time, yourself to meditate. And when I say meditate, is uh, let your mind flow in a different beat, in a different environment. So if it's a sunny day, go for a walk. If you practice sports, create yourself a little routine also.
Mm.
Otherwise, the only thing you'll be doing is looking for a job. So, and it should be something exciting. You'll be eventually in a new place, but if you make it something like very strict, you will lose the fun aspect of it. So it's integrate fun in what you're doing. And also, Danielle, is still related to networking, is meeting and discussing is working. Our definition of work needs to change. My definition of work changed. So today, when I'm having a conversation with a colleague, with a leader, with somebody outside of work, it's somehow I'm working. Why? Because I'm being challenged by a new perspective, a new idea, and so that moment will perhaps bring more ideas or bring yourself to adjust yourself to a new way or a new avenue.
And it's fun at the same time.
We're
gonna take your advice right now and take a break. When we come back, more with Luciano Facchinelli. Welcome back to Reinventing You. I'm your host, Danielle Silverman, here with my guest, Luciano Facchinelli. We're talking about what it means to change your career, what it means to look for a job, how to stay motivated. All these things are extraordinary. And Luciano, I really, really appreciate all of the things that you said about staying motivated, because yes, you're right. Looking for a job is a full-time job, and it's hard. It's hard because you're putting yourself out there and it becomes very personal. So taking time off becomes important, doing things that you enjoy. For you, it's going to a cup of coffee, getting a cup of coffee, or discovering a new coffee shop, perhaps. That's always fun. The little pleasures in life. And doing things that keep some excitement in your life, whatever you enjoy, whether it's that sports. I know you enjoy sports particularly, or whether that's just knowing when you need to take time off, even, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. And you also pointed out the beauty of having conversations with people and having that be challenging for you. So the networking is not just for the job search, it's continuing for you, even now that you are actually in a job, because it keeps you intellectually stimulated, it keeps you up to date, I imagine, on all kinds of things. And so what are the things that help you keep you excited in the current job?
Well, first of all, the recognition I've been receiving from my managers. What helped me is stay connected and happy with the job where I am now is using my tools, is trust yourself. I mean, trust your instincts and bring to the table whatever you think is gonna help the business. And of course, you have to make the effort for things to be aligned with the priorities of the organization. Also is having courageous conversations. What I mean by that is there's no perfect environment. There, not every day will be a good day at your work. So by creating the a great confidence bond with your managers, with your colleagues, will also allow me to be aligned with the person I am. Basically, the person I am today at this specific organization is much closer to whom I am in real life. So being honest, the integrity is something that helps also, but it's small steps towards that direction. And you start with people that there's a natural connection. That's my advice. That's where I started. Basically, the persons that with whom there's more chances you get along with. So you start creating the bonds with those persons. Also, using like you said, not using, collaborating with the network. It's something to keep you up to date. Whenever I struggle with a question, I take the phone and I speak to someone that I value his opinion, or I value the person's approach, or I value the listening ability and the questioning abilities the person has. So yeah, basically, make sure that you put on the table everything you have, and that whenever you feel something, instead of keeping it for you, is give the chance towards to the organization also. If you keep it for yourself, no one will know it, and no one will be able to react accordingly to it. So
what I'm hearing is that there's an authenticity to the way that you're behaving at work, and also to the way that you approach people.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing, luckily for you, and I'm very happy for you, is that the authenticity is being given back as well, and which is the way it should be when you're in an environment like that. What happens if you find yourself not in an environment where there is that reciprocity?
I think you have to take a step back and see if this non-alignment is due to exceptional circumstances, or perhaps it's a deeper challenge, a deeper problem. Is it a human connection that you don't have? Is it a vision that you don't share? Is it a new position that the organization has taken that does not correspond to what you're looking for? So the authenticity and the integrity is also having the maturity to see if you still belong to something. And it's okay to evolve, and it's okay to have a different perspective. It means perhaps that the relation you created has evolved, has changed, and now you're ready for a new step. And being honest about it, I mean, if you're in a good place, if you're in the right place, it should be received very positively. I mean, it's not fun for let's say the president, or to whom you report to know that you're not happy, and perhaps you're looking for something new, but you're also helping them create or not create to replace you in order to prepare for that change. So it's helping each other. You were there for a moment, so there was a connection, there was a challenge, a goal that you wanted to realize and to make happen. So yes.
Are you recommending that people express when they're unhappy somewhere, that they express that feeling? I'm
Yes,
kind of,
I think we're starting a, a new movement. I think it started a long time ago, but like we said, change take a little time to happen. And I think if we compare to organizations in the past and the way uh, it used to be dealt with, and if we compare it to you, and it's something that was accentuated by pandemic. Also, we're learning that the true value of an organization is uh, the human that are part of the organizations. Yes, we're looking for results. So you used to come perhaps from a culture where you used to squeeze a little more the humans towards uh, a vision where I truly believe that when a person is well, when an employee feel he belongs, that he has a purpose, and he knows exactly what he contributes to, and he has the right balance in between his personal life and the work life, it is a person that will contribute a lot more and will bring a very positive culture. So this evolution uh, came with building the trust and building confidence. So yes, basically what I'm saying is you should open yourself. And if ever your boss, your leader doesn't receive your comment in a good way, well, it tells you a little about this the stage where the organization is humanly.
yeah. So I'm happy to hear you say that and skeptical at the same time. So, well,
I'm
yes,
a bit skeptical too.
yeah, well, because yes, the world is changing. We know that, and we know that organizations need to change with it because the speed of change is tremendous. And we also know that the life cycle of organizations is shorter and shorter and shorter, which means that people will not be staying in jobs for 30 years the way they used to, right? So changing every 2 years becomes common. And organizations and the leaders of organizations need to understand that. So hopefully you're working in an organization where it is possible, but it isn't always possible, unfortunately. And as you said, what you will hear is that you'll know that if you hear differently, you'll know that maybe it's not confirmation that it's not necessarily the right place for you to be. Luciano, in the time we have left, I want to ask you what advice you would give to anyone who is looking to change careers today.
Small steps. Create movement because movement generates movement. So every little action that you'll take will push you towards the right direction. Celebrate every single little victory that you have. Give your tap in the back, saying that today I was able to make 2 calls. Today I was able to speak to someone. That's a victory. That's a step towards the right direction. Give yourself flexibility. Set yourself goals, but perhaps there's some things that you know for sure that you don't want to change. But for the other things, allow yourself to explore avenues or opportunities that didn't feel at first like a direct match. Stay open in your mind, in your heart, and perhaps give yourself some challenges too. You know, the challenge of the day is perhaps just saying hi to someone, and we'll see where it goes from there. Change the way you network. That's something that helped me a lot. I felt that networking was selling myself a little more, but it's the opposite of that. It's basically networking is having a normal conversation as we're having now, Danielle. Basically, we're exchanging, and once in a while we speak to each other, and that's networking for me. It's keeping a special bond with your network in order to support them or to be supported by them. have fun. So take those breaks whenever you need to. And don't forget to find your allies, creating that system, that support system, in order to help you whenever it's a little more difficult.
These are absolutely fantastic. It's fantastic advice to give people. If I can just summarize shortly, it's small steps that will get you there. Stay flexible, explore different things, whether it's making a phone call, celebrate some victories. If you made 2 phone calls in a day, that's a victory. Staying open to the possibilities, challenging yourself. I love that. I also really love change the way you network, change the way you view networking. It's so different. Have fun and make sure you've got a good support system. Luciano, I want to thank you so much for your time. I'm so happy to hear your success, to see the smile on your face, and that you are happy in what you're doing and that you're staying open to so many different possibilities. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for agreeing to be my guest here today. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for welcoming our guest. You're listening to Reinventing You on Transformation Talk Radio. My name is Danielle Silverman. If you want to read or if you want to learn more about what I do and helping people reinvent themselves and change their careers, you can go to my website at www.reinventing-u.com. And there you can either book a time directly on my calendar. You can listen to all of the podcasts, including this podcast with Luciano. Thank you again, Luciano. Be
Thank
well,
you, Danielle.
And stay in touch.
Success to you.
And to you as well. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to Reinventing You with me, your host, Danielle Silverman. Tune in on the 2nd and 4th Monday each month at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. Join me and feel inspired and optimistic about your future. We only get one life, so embrace change and thrive with me. Find work that aligns best with your soul and what you enjoy. For more information, go to reinventingyou.com.